Welcome to the class of Digital Marketing and E-Commerce, Unit 5. I'm Dr. Namita Nath, and today we'll be covering about introduction to the e-commerce, the different e-business models that are involved while the transaction is done using e-commerce platform, the e-commerce sales life cycle model, introduction to the electronic payment systems, and EDI. We'll begin with getting to know what e-commerce is all about. So e-commerce, it means using internet and the web for business transactions or commercial transactions, which typically involve the exchange of value across organizational or individual boundaries in return for products and services. So primarily, e-commerce involves the transactions which happen while purchasing or procuring some product or service. Such type of platforms, e-commerce platforms, they operate using internet. So they are actually digitally enabled commercial transactions which happen either between the organizations or the individuals or between the individuals. So that is how the business e-commerce or the consumer e-commerce concepts come. E-business applications turn into e-commerce precisely when the exchange of value occurs. And we all know the exchange of value over here means when some commercial aspect is involved while we are ordering the product. Digitally enabled transactions include all transactions mediated by digital technology and platform, that is, transactions that occur over the internet and the web. So what is e-commerce? The term e-commerce, it has been used for describing a variety of market transactions enabled by IT conducted over the electronic network. The emergence of internet as a vast public network with millions of people connected online has given rise to a new interactive marketplace for buying and selling. Therefore, some of the e-commerce simply means the capability to buy and sell goods or to buy and sell of information, buying and selling of services online using public networks. Some of the requirements of e-commerce: the business processes that are concerned with the creation of information sources. So e-commerce in fact cannot run without the information sources available on the internet. Then movement of information over the global networks. Using internet, the information can be shared to anywhere around the world. Efficient and effective interaction amongst the producers, as in the manufacturers, the customers or the consumers, the intermediaries, the parties which are involved in selling the product from the manufacturers to the end consumers and the sellers. The benefits of e-commerce: it enhances the global distribution of information related to the product or services which are generally sold using such platforms. E-commerce expands the market reach beyond the geographic boundaries. So even small businesses, they get exposure to the global marketplace. E-commerce saves the cost of printing information brochures and catalogs. The reason being, all the information, they are available online. So that stationery cost is reduced. Everyone accesses the latest version of product catalog information. So there is no restriction as to who can get hold of the information related to the product or services, that are sold using the e-commerce platform. There is an efficient and quick delivery of information needs to the online users. So, some of the different aspects which in fact before the usage of this e-commerce, there was a lot of information lack related to these concepts. So one is with reference to logistics, because logistics cannot be performed using e-commerce platform, but using that e-commerce, via that e-commerce platform, the tracking of the shipment can occur. So all the updates related to the delivery of the products are fed on the e-commerce platforms. So that is what customer can track the status of the shipment. The other benefits includes, in the paperless e-commerce environment, the incremental cost of handling the customers is negligible, because all the cost which is involved for the marketing aspect of the product is reduced to a very less amount when the e-commerce environment is into use. The infrastructure setup cost, that means the cost of setting up the retail where the product is placed or arranged for selling, that infrastructure cost is reduced as there is heavy reliance on mostly the information technology infrastructure. The e-commerce also helps to integrate multiple partners, the different parties which are involved in selling the product to the end consumers. So it includes the manufacturer's integration of the flow of information and the process of selling the product, right from the manufacturers to the contractors, the suppliers, and the regulatory agencies, which results in competitive pricing, lower inventories, better availability of materials, and compliance. Then there is also an increased use of integrated supply chain networks, leading towards the JIT inventory management technique. The impact which electronic commerce has had on the businesses, the ease of availability of the product, the quality of the product which are available on the e-commerce platform, and also the ease of availability of price information. Then there is reduced information search cost for the buyers, because all the information related to different competitive products are available on a single platform, and it becomes a lot easier for the online customers in the terms of saving of time and energy while searching for the information related to a particular product category. In multi-layer distribution models, each intermediary facilitates the coordination of product distribution, but it adds to the coordination cost. There is a lot of disintermediation that has happened. So there is a reduction in the role of intermediaries. The traditional structure of distribution network is reduced, or it is made very short in the context of e-commerce. So as the role of intermediaries in the value chain is reduced in electronic commerce, this leads to the disintermediation of the traditional distribution network. This disintermediation also leads to reduction in coordination costs. There are different e-commerce or e-business models depending on the transaction that is involved as a part of e-commerce, electronic commerce. So on the basis of, there are different classifications of such e-business models. The first one is your business to consumer, which involves transactions that are happening between the business, that means the manufacturer of the product, and the customer who will be in fact consuming that product. We have the second type of electronic commerce, which is business to business. Such e-commerce platforms, it involves selling of the products directly to some other business. So generally, industrial markets or business markets are most often dealing with B2B e-commerce. Some of the examples of B2B e-commerce platforms include Trade India, IndiaMart, Alibaba, Exporters India. Examples of B2C e-commerce, these are the easiest to remember, as we as online consumers, we are mostly exposed to B2C e-commerce platforms. So examples will include your Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, etc. The next classification of electronic commerce is C2C, that is consumer to consumer, wherein the consumers, they can interact with each other and involve in buying and selling of the products. So we have a lot of C2C e-commerce websites where one consumer acts as a seller to the other consumer who purchases that product. So there can be buying and selling of assets like residential property, cars, motorcycles, renting of a room, etc. Examples include eBay, OLX, Quicker, etc. The third type of e-commerce classification includes consumer to business. Herein, this approach, in fact, it shows multiple business organizations for a particular service. So the consumer places an estimate of amount that he or she wants to spend for a particular service. For example, the comparison of interest rates for personal loan or car loan provided by various banks via the e-commerce platform or websites. Some of the examples of C2B, consumer to business e-commerce platform, includes Google AdSense, Shutterstock, etc. There are two additional classifications of e-commerce, which is the first one out of them is business to employee. These services are typically offered by intranet applications to provide all the needed information to employees in an organization. The second additional classification of e-commerce platform includes business to government, which is B2G. This is similar to B2B, except instead of interacting with the other business, the businesses, they interact with the government. So governments operate under their own set of rules that may have to be adhered by the business who are participants to such type of B2G e-commerce platforms. Next, we will be discussing about the e-commerce sales life cycle. These are the different stages where e-commerce sales life cycle, they primarily involve three major stages. The first one includes the pre-sale, which involves, in fact, before the selling occurs, what are the activities that include on the online platform is included under your pre-sale stage. So online promotions that are done to create excitement about the products that are being sold through online advertisements become a part of pre-sale stage. The second stage includes the transaction. That means when the selling or purchase or buying of the product occurs. So when the customer places their order for the product, the process, this transaction process, it should be user friendly. The third stage for e-commerce sales lifecycle include the delivery. Once the sales has been made and the payment mode have been selected, next involves sending across that particular product to the place of the customer. So that is what includes the delivery. There are a number of aspects which should be taken care of during the delivery, especially in the context of packaging and the speed with which the product has to be delivered to the end consumer. And the last stage of e-commerce lifecycle includes after sales. That involves interacting with the customer for taking the feedback related to the performance of the product or the delivery of the product. It also includes flashing across customized promotional offers to the customers who may have purchased a particular category of the product using the e-commerce platform. There are three stages of the e-commerce business life cycle, which is indicated through these three different colors over here in the diagram. It includes startup and fast growth, indicated by a green line. So startup and fast growth means this is where the e-commerce sales has begun. The next is plateauing growth and consolidation, where the sales is maximum for a specific e-commerce platform, and that the business, maximum business that is generated on such platform, it remains constant for a considerable duration of time period. And then we have the third stage, which is the renewed growth, where certain push is given to increase the sales. Push can be in the context of adapting a promotional exercise for the products that are being sold on the e-commerce platform, or it can be by giving advertisements of the e-commerce platform on various other websites, allied websites or allied platforms. So this is about the sales, the stages of the sales cycle, e-commerce sales cycle, 4 stages, which we have already discussed: pre-sale, transaction, delivery, and after sales. The business life cycle of the e-commerce sales life cycle is startup and fast growth, plateauing growth or consolidation, and the renewed growth. Next, we will be discussing about the electronic payment system. To begin with, what does electronic payment system mean? It is a payment system that generates any transfer of funds other than a transaction originated by cash, check, or similar paper instrument, which is initiated through electronic terminal, telephone, mobile phone, computer, or magnetic tape for the purpose of ordering, instructing, or authorizing a financial institution to debit or credit an account. So basically, electronically doing the transaction using electronic method without using any physical form of money. That is what is known as your electronic payment. And the system which is involved in such type of electronic transactions, they are known as your electronic payment systems. So generally, if we take in the context of example, the term includes debit cards, wire transfers, transfers made at automated teller machines, that is ATMs, and point of sale terminals. The first type of electronic payment system that will be briefly introduced in this session is the credit card based electronic payment system, wherein the payment is made by the bank, which the consumer will have to return to the bank at a later stage. This is the simplest explanation of what credit card based payment is known as. Now the same credit card can be used electronically while purchasing online in the e-commerce platform. So payment using credit card is one of the most common mode of electronic payment. A credit card is a small plastic card with a unique number attached with an account. It also has a magnetic strip embedded in it, which is used to read the credit card via the card readers. When a customer purchases a product via credit card issuer, bank pays on behalf of the customer, and the customer has a certain time period after which he or she can pay the credit card bill. It is usually credit card monthly payment cycle. Following are the actors in the credit card payment system. We have one customer who is the credit card holder. Then we have the merchant, the seller of the product who accepts such type of credit card payments. We have the credit card issuer bank, the bank from whose credit card the customer may be holding, so cardholders bank. The acquirer bank, that means the merchant's side of bank who is going to accept the transaction by that through that credit card. And the card brand, for example, whether your credit card is a Visa card or a MasterCard. The credit card payment process involves the bank issuing and activating the credit card to the customer presenting the credit card information to the merchant site or to the merchant from whom he or she wants to purchase the product. Then the merchant validating the customer's identity by asking the approval from the card brand company. The card brand company authenticates the credit card and pays the transaction by credit. Merchant keeps a record of that in terms of the payment slip. The merchant submits that sales slip or the payment slip to the acquirer banks and gets the service charges paid to him or her. The acquirer bank requests the card brand company to clear the credit amount and gets the payment. And finally, the card brand company asks to clear the amount from the issuer bank, and the amount gets transferred to the card brand company. The different types of payments that can be made using credit card. The first one is payments using plain credit card details. There are certain disadvantages to such type of payment because there is less security while payments are made using plain credit card details. So low level of security, it is inherent in the design of the internet that makes this method problematic. The second type of payment which can be done online using credit card is payments using encrypted credit card details. So these encrypted details are there in the form of, earlier it was there in the form of magnetic tape. Now there is a chip which is there inserted, which is a part of the credit card, which consists of the details, and that is in fact read by the machine which is used, or if it is online payment, the CVV number is inserted, which in fact issues all the details to the brand which is involved in ensuring the credit card payments. And then there is this third method wherein third-party verification is involved, like receiving a OTP on the mobile phone number and then inserting that OTP also. So the credit card also has the mobile number linked with it. So this is the third-party verification that is done, and it provides high security while the online payments are being made. The last topic that we'll be discussing in today's presentation is EDI, which is Electronic Data Interchange. What is EDI? It is a system or method of exchanging basic documents with the trading partners. Who are these trading partners? They can be suppliers, customers, carriers, third-party logistics service providers, or other supply chain participants. The electronic data interchange optimizes the business process by replacing manual process such as mail, fax, email with electronic exchanges of business transactions between two companies that may use vastly different internal business systems. Some of the benefits of electronic data interchange. It reduces or eliminates the manual data entry errors by automating the document exchanges. The EDI streamlines transaction processing for shorter lead times and rapid fulfillment. So the time involved for exchange of such important information which is required to be sent across as a part of the transaction, the time is reduced to almost instantaneous exchange, and in fact the entire transaction process happens more smoothly. It increases the productivity without increasing the staff so that you can scale the business performance. It makes it easier and more cost effective to do business with the trading partners. With this, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you.